Hello and welcome from the wooded areas-ish in Palo Alto, where the ground squirrels are really active right now. Don't know what they know that I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on those little guys. Anyway, I just wanted to stop here and do my video for the week in this kind of really cute setting right now. It was sunny earlier, it's a little cloudy now, but let's talk a little bit about what happened last week and what I took away from it. Let's get into it. This week I had 4 gigs over 3 days. So it was a 4-hour gig on Thursday, 1 and then 3 hours on Friday, back to back, 1 hour apart, and then a 1-hour gig on a Saturday up in Half Moon Bay. So the Thursday gig was one I've done before, but I haven't done it in the context of this video series. It was the Los Altos Farmers Market. I personally like farmers market cafe kind of vibes. I'm more of like daytime music in general, but it was actually really cool little spot on the street. Tons of foot traffic, really good response, and the folks who were running the farmers market were nice enough to help me with lights as we went from like 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So at that point of day, 6:30 or so, it's getting dark, so I was able to get some light going on what I was doing, and really had a good time. On Friday was probably like a unique challenge in my limited career experience right now, which was going from basically 2 locations that were approximately 25 minutes apart, where I needed to go from one to the other and to play a gig at each spot within an hour. So what I did is I worked with the person who hired me. One was a private-ish event at a retirement community that I played at, that I really dearly love playing at. I want to do more of that. I'm still trying to kind of break into the more places like it, basically, but that one's fantastic and I love playing there, so I'm there every couple months. So that one went great, but to facilitate doing a gig in the other location, I actually have 2 setups. I have a mini setup that I use in small settings, like the retirement community, where it takes me like 10 minutes to set up and 10 minutes to tear down, and you get looping, but you don't get all the bells and whistles. At some point I'll feature it on the channel. I might be doing some stuff like that during my break when I'm not able to play or gig, so maybe I'll do a little tour of what gear I have. If you have ideas for things you want to see in that period of time where I can't gig, that's great. But anyway, so I had this mini, I call it the mini kit, that I have in a duffel bag. I just was able to bring with me to that gig. The other gig needed a full setup, including wireless sounds, my generator, and my shade canopy, so like a full everything. So what I did is I went to the second location. I went there first, set everything up, except for, of course, I brought my guitar back with me, and I used my monitor as a backup amp just in case something went wrong. Set it all up, and then got my car. It was being looked after by the folks who were running the event. Ran to the other event, played for the retirement community, then back, which was a preschool party, kind of like a harvest party / a Halloween party. Lots of parents and their very small children, which was really fun. The marching orders were, just let the kids dance to whatever they want. So I just made sure every song had a drum groove, and I went from there. Those were great, successful gigs. Loved it. Outstanding. I'm actually getting a chance to play for the same person who hired me for the preschool event at a private event at their place later this week. Now on Saturday, I was playing in Half Moon Bay at the first ever of this series the park system was putting up, which was like a picnic and plant sale on the coast. And I like being on the coast in Half Moon Bay. Kind of nasty traffic getting there, to be honest. And I'm actually going to kind of use this opportunity to kind of segue into the tip, because this was a, I titled this video All In. I got this gig because the person who worked at the parks, who is a friend of a friend, basically, I've seen them play. They actually play bass in a band with some friends of mine, and they had seen me perform, and they said, hey, we had a cancellation, would you be able to perform? And I'm kind of in the mode of saying yes to a lot of things. I'm still figuring out what works, and a lot of it is just saying a lot of yes and seeing what works and what doesn't. It's going to be for an hour. It's kind of long to get there, but I wanted to go and support this burgeoning event, and I really enjoy that setting and that location. So I was told there was going to be a PA there. So I brought my full kit, but I didn't bring a PA. So most of the full kit wasn't fully self-sufficient. Didn't bring my own power, didn't bring my own PA, etc. But when I got there, there was some musicians playing before me and after me, so it was like part of a 3-band lineup. I've been told there was sound, and I got there, and I couldn't hear anything when I first got there. I'm like, and I eventually looked in the distance, and I saw a tent where the stage was, and I saw some folks playing like kind of bluegrassy, instrumentally mostly kind of stuff, mandolin, fiddle, guitar. I think someone was playing a bass, but I don't remember. Don't check me on that. But I couldn't hear them at all. I like got within 50 feet of them, and I could still barely hear them. Their instruments were louder than their PA. So not a very good vote of confidence for the setup. And the person who actually hired me and asked me to show up kind of apologized and said that this other group was going to be bringing sound. They didn't realize that it wouldn't necessarily be very good sound. But I did have my my monitor with me, which is a little Bose amp that I use for a monitor. And I could have been disappointed and thought, you know, it was kind of like lightly, but not super lightly attended. There were some folks there hanging out. There were some people picnicking. You know, it's on the beach in Half Moon Bay. It's not a bad place to be. What was interesting was, you know, there's a moment there. You get to choose when you realize, whoops, I signed up for something and it's not looking like it's gonna go very well. Or you can doubt why you're there. You can doubt, should I have done this? And I, in general, have found that while it's useful in a sort of post-game way, or in fact when you're being asked to do a gig, to evaluate whether you should do it, when you're there, that's not the time to evaluate. That's the time to make the best thing happen that you can. And that's why I call this one All In. I realized that I did not trust this PA at all. It just was pretty tinny, pretty low quality. And I had my monitor, which sounds pretty good. So what I did was actually used my monitor as the PA for the gig. I took it, instead of putting it at me so I could hear myself, I took it and I cranked it up, because it's a pretty good little monitor, pretty good amp, and I put it to my left, faced away, so I could hear just enough of it so I knew what I was doing. I didn't want to blow my ears out. I was really protective of always protective of my hearing. I play at low volumes. The good news was I was able to get the loop stuff going, set up pretty quickly, which is good because the other band was also late to shut down. It was not the best setup. But by the time I got going, there were people dancing, there were people clapping. You know, you're there to create a vibe. You're there to serve what that event wants. And it went from a bunch of folks having a picnic who maybe didn't even know there was music happening. Like, I literally would not have known it was happening if I wasn't looking for it, because I knew I was playing there. It was really, really quiet. To getting that kind of going. And then for the band after me, who was also expecting a PA, which again, not really there, I just stayed. I let them borrow my stuff. I helped them do sound, because it was kind of a jerry rig, like their guitar amp plus my PA. So I was able to kind of get a situation where we could hear them well enough, where people could appreciate their set as well. And, you know, net, was it a good gig for me to go to? Well, empirically, like financially, no, probably not. Does that mean it was a failure? No, absolutely not. In fact, I think these moments where I realize that, you know, I need to ask better questions, where I need to make sure that I work better with the people who hire me, which is some part of the learning of being new to this. At the end of the day, once I'm there, whatever I've got myself into, I want to just maximize. And that's the nature of All In. I've basically quit a job for doing software to do a job doing music. You could argue that's not as all in as some moves are, but I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna make it or not, by trying as hard as possible. And that's the nature of what that means for me. So I think this video will be shorter than the last one. I realized they were creeping up and getting longer, so I'm trying to keep these a little more bite-sized, 8 minutes or so. We'll see how I do. But with that, I wanted to say thank you again for watching. If you have any ideas for what I should be talking about during my time off, I'd love to hear it. And I hope you folks have a great week, and I will talk to you next week. Cheers.